Hello and welcome to another Do As We Do Live. We're here today on a Sunday. Thank you, Kris.
Glad to
With my
be
co-host.
here.
Introduce yourself, Kris. Sorry, I'm
I'm
multitasking.
Kris from Life with Grams. I am my grandma's full-time caregiver since March of 2017, and she lives with Alzheimer's. She's hanging out here with us too.
And Kris and I have both had an exciting weekend, right? But before we share that exciting weekend with you all, or week, I should, because we are Sunday, but mine was like a whole week going into the weekend, and it sounded like yours was kind of the same.
Oh yeah, always something.
Yeah, we do want everyone to know we're going to be talking about today the wrap up of the second annual Do As We Do self-care giveaway. We're also going to do an update on the pickleball, our first annual pickleball tournament, charity pickleball tournament that we had yesterday. But before we do that, wherever you're watching from, we want everyone to know this is how you can connect with us. You can follow us. We're usually on Saturday mornings, but we made the exception. Thank you, Kris, for doing this because I had the pickleball tournament and I can only be in two places at once, right? And I knew it wasn't going to be realistic. So we decided to make this because it is the last day to apply, to make this our day. And then we'll also come back with Kris, hopefully a couple more times.
Yeah,
but for sure, when we do our announcement of all the winners, which definitely has hiked this up. So we appreciate you guys so much. And again, this is our resource link to go to. It's in the bio. I know Kris has shared it as well. So wherever you see us, connect with us, there is a link that gives you to the application for the annual caregiver giveaway. So without further ado, tell us, Kris, where did you go this week with Grams?
So this weekend, yesterday was the Indianapolis Family or Senior and Family Caregiver Expo. It's about 2.5 hours from where we live, but I wanted to make kind of a day of it because I've never connected in person with other caregivers and things like that before. So I asked my cousin to help out because I cannot do it alone. You cannot take someone out of the state by yourself.
Amen to that.
It requires help. So the plan really was that my cousin was going to come and like hang out with my grandma, drive around, keep her occupied for like the 2 hours I was at the event. But when we pulled into the event, my grandma saw a bunch of little kids go inside and she was like, I'm going with you. So I said, that's cool. You know, I was excited to take her in.
Yeah.
We walk in maybe 2 feet in and my grandma drops her milkshake all over the floor upon like literally walking in. And so
hey, it's usually me, not my mom, that drops things. So
oh well, no, so I don't even know how it happened. She saw a picture of like a kid at the Anthem health booth, and she walked on over to like see the picture of the kid, and I guess she just lost all control of everything because everything fell out of her hands, milkshake included. So
awesome.
Then I'm like frantic, like, oh my gosh, I have to clean up this milkshake. I'm like, stay with Graham. I gotta get paper towels, and I'm searching everywhere, and my grandma's just kind of living her best life as I'm having like an internal panic attack. But long story short, we cleaned up the milkshake and all was well. We got to spend about 10 minutes at the expo before my grandma said, see you later.
And you just pivoted, right? Like you
just
didn't give up?
With it. No, I mean, we said hi to some people. My grandma seemed to have a good time for the first few minutes she was there interacting. But again, I go off of her moods and I didn't want to force her to stay. So my cousin took her outside and they enjoyed the rest of their afternoon. And I got to connect with some really amazing companies and organizations and fellow caregivers.
Awesome. Well, Megan says she loves you, Kris. We all do. Yes. It like the fact that you said it, you had an internal, right? But you figured it out and didn't totally lose it. Like if I had been you when I first started this caregiving journey, I would have totally lost it, right? Well, I'm usually the one who spills anyways. I'm a super klutz. It is what it is. I'm high energy. Okay, I deal with it. However, my mom was always the one prepared for that, right? She would always have her napkins in her, and maybe that's why I carry a to-go bag with my mom wherever we go for both of us, right? Just in case. And I do carry everything with me when I travel. Like people some people tease, some people say, oh, Kimberly's got it, because if I got extra aspirin, anything to, yeah, I'll give it to you. Like, you need it, I got it. Come to me.
I'm gonna whip out. I got wipes. I got anything you need. What you need, I got it. Of course, I had no paper towel. So
yeah. So, but you were doing. My point is, you pivoted and you did the best, and you didn't lose it, right? Like, it is 100% a practice thing, mentally and physically, that you don't. Right? What would you have done? You kind of, I know there's another story around this, that the first time you went out into public with or I don't know if it was the first time, but it was another big event, right? Like, what did you do then?
Oh yeah, so I was mentioning earlier how my grandma, we went to my nephew's communion last April, and as soon as the kids were about to walk down the aisle to receive their communion, my grandma started saying, F this, F that, go to hell, in the middle of a Catholic church. This woman carries a holy water in her purse at all times and was cursing in church. And so
I love Grants even more now. Yeah.
But so in moments like that, like, yes, it's very easy for me to say, okay, we're leaving, we're giving up, let's go. And take that scenario for what it was. And I have really learned to breathe, to take a moment, collect myself, because me being frazzled is always going to make her more frazzled. So in those moments, I really just take time and I focus on her energy. So like what happened yesterday with the milkshake, I did for a moment be like, oh God, this was a bad idea. Why did I take her inside? In my head, I'm saying these things. And then, you're
human, because you're human. We all would do that, right? Everybody. Doesn't matter whether you have your grams with you or not.
Yes, we are human. So I cleaned up the milkshake and I just took a breath and I said, you know what? Let's just see how it goes. So we walked down the aisle. We enjoyed ourselves. And then it got to a point where she just didn't want to be there. And so I accepted that and we moved along. Same thing like when we were at church. Now, I could have easily broke down and just started crying, be like, I'm mortified. I ruined all these kids' religion day, and like been really upset about the fact that my grandma cursed. Or I could say, this is life. She has this disease and let's focus on her, because obviously sitting in that church, something was bothering her. That's probably why she screamed out. So I took her out. We walked around the block. We looked at some flowers. We got some fresh air. We sat on a bench for a few minutes, calmed her down, and then we were able to go back in and enjoy the rest of the ceremony or whatever for the end of it, because I listened to her. If we were to try to go back in the church and she was not having it, I would have said fine, and we would have went and sat in the car, because we have to pivot. Like you said, pivoting is the perfect word. You have to just go with it and figure it out in that moment. Sometimes something's going to work one way and then another time it's not. So it's all kind of figuring out, rolling with it.
Yeah, because you said it the best when you said all our minds are different. We're all different human beings. So dementia is going to be different for everyone, along with family caregiving is going to look different for everyone, right?
Exactly.
And good morning.
No one way.
Yeah. Good morning, Jolene. I love what she's saying. Love life with Grams. Kris is amazing. Caregiver for Graham, and a blessing. And her voice is beautiful when she sings. Yes, she is beautiful. They both are. And the fact that you're learning every single time you do something with her, no matter what it looks like, right? You learn. And that's what we're here to preach. That Do As We Do was started, and you helped me explain the mission on one of our last lives, because we do help the family caregiver, but really to condense what our 501(c) is about is making family caregiving a conversation, not a rite of passage. And because that is no family caregiver is prepared when this happens. So we want people to be having the conversation now, right? Yes. We want to help those family caregivers like you and many others that are in a situation where they are paid very little or nothing, depending on what state you live in, folks. and that we give them the money that they need to go get some self-care. Not a whole lot right now, but it's a little bit that goes a long way, right?
A little bit counts, seriously. Yeah. I think sometimes people send me like $10 for a coffee, and even just like that little bit of like, we care, we see you, thank you, go get yourself a coffee. That means so much to someone who devotes their time to another person. So when people even just see you for a moment and recognize the work that you're doing, it really does mean a lot.
Yes, 100%. We appreciate everybody joining us today we absolutely, yes, they're happy people. Trina, did I say Tina?
TK, she is a caregiver for her grandma as well.
Oh, TK. And girls 18. Thank you. We appreciate you. I don't know what all that means, but we appreciate you. We do. It is a conversation we want to be having, because a lot of people were either I was raised in a way that you just didn't talk about those things. You just did them. You didn't talk about dementia, or, and it was looked upon as they were going crazy. Like there was not enough.
A lot of shame.
A lot of shame. I did learn from someone a while back that dementia medication and dementia treatment, like the word dementia, doctors would not even use that word 20, maybe 30 years ago, because then insurance would not cover it. Wow. So yes, take that right there. I was like dumbfounded, right? So on top of the fact it doesn't even cure anything, now, right? Like it just stabilizes. It doesn't necessarily make it better, right? So anyways, that's a whole other conversation, but we need to be talking about this. We need to be showing and sharing and see, like you said, like we appreciate you, we see you, we feel, we understand. Like it is a labor of love, but it's also learning experiences, learning lessons that we will be able to take with us, moving forward for the rest of our lives to deal with other people. Like I had to use those inner powers, I thought it was just helping with my mom, but now what I'm learning along the way from mental health and everything else, like I'm learning how to deal with the outside world that I used to blow up at, or want to box somebody for being mean, right? Like my mom taught me to defend others, and so but you have to be emotionally intelligent. My dad always would tell me about golf. It's a mental game. Beat them with your mental skills, and practice makes perfect. And so I'm using those things not in a sports and analogy, but more in the business world when I leave my mom, because I need to remain that same person, some sorts, right? Like I'm going to be drained, obviously, but weren't you exhausted afterwards? Yeah. I mean, you pushed through, you did 2 hours on the trade show floor. And what was that like?
Then I drove 2.5 hours back to Chicago. So it was like literally we left at 11 a.m. and we got home at 9 p.m. And so the whole day was just kind of a flash. And I was ready for bed. And of course, grandma was not. Yeah. So of course there was that whole little dance, Yeah. Like, or all I want to do is close my eyes and hit that bed. And she just wasn't ready yet. But it is really important, like sharing our stories, because where I am today is not where I was 6 years ago when I first started. And I think that's important to talk about too, is that like, when I first started taking care of my grandma, there is no way I wanted to bring her to a restaurant. Even I didn't know what was allowed. It's so weird to say that, but I didn't know what was socially acceptable. I didn't know what people.
You didn't know what you didn't know, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this whole trial and error, I'm still going through it, because nothing is set in stone. Nothing's again going to work 100% of the time. So it's really focusing and not being afraid to do it, not being afraid to take her out to public. Who cares if she says F you in the middle of church,
Or drops milkshakes on the middle of a trade show floor.
Yeah. Things are going to happen. We're just humans, and we have to just go with it and
not worry about what other people think, because at the end of the day,
others are everywhere.
Yes, all the time. They're in your home. They're in your social life online. When I say social life, they're in your physical social life. For all you folks who only live online, they are still out there. They're in your business world. And
the girl,
is Grams okay?
It's all right. She's just choking.
That doesn't mean literally choking.
No,
folks.
no, it's
She's making a cough. Kris would be turning this live off if she was literally choking. Okay, no worries.
I know I say that a lot, but she was a smoker. She smoked 2 packs a day.
Oh yeah,
she got that. She got that cough. She's all right.
It's not going away, folks. Like I was there before she came to live with Kris.
Yes, she's not sick. I assure you, it's just the way that it goes.
It is, but you are learning. These are superpowers, Kris. Like I mean, We just talked about animated movies, which we'll go into later, like some other episode, but is definitely something that you need to understand, that you will constantly be using these things, right? I thought, oh, my business power meant, help me, but it is absolutely, this chapter of my life, I'm learning lessons from how my energy is with my mom, to taking that to still keeping my mind and body and sanity out there by going out and continuing to do my work or my consulting or the nonprofit or whatever it is, right? Like
continuing to be who you are. And,
yep.
and yeah, that goes hand in hand with caregiving. I think we really have to focus on us. We're people too. And
Yes.
mental health is so important. I think it has been a blessing being a caregiver, and it has been a struggle, but the things I have learned, like you said, are going to take me further when I'm done with my caregiving role than if I hadn't have done this. I've gained so much insight, so much knowledge. And not only that, but I have changed as a person. I am more patient. I am more aware. I am more all of these things. And it just keeps building, and it's just a part of it. So
yeah, your empathy has expanded, your kindness. You still check, like we all are human again, that there are times that we're not patient with ourselves or with our loved one or with some jerk face that I won't use a bad word. I don't want to categorize, because everybody can be
troll on the internet.
Exactly. A troll on the internet, whatever it is, or troll in human life. Like there are, like, I learned a lot about narcissists, right? And it's a bad label, but we can all be not a good person at times, and we can all be selfish, but to label one thing for one person, I know is bad. So before I go down that rabbit hole, let me just share with you the feeling I get when you're talking about it just wasn't a good day. So I had my mom come out to the pickleball tournament, that it was the first annual for DoAsWeDo. And she was not happy. Can you tell? She's usually smart. She'll say cheese when I go, say cheese, mom. And that's my best friend next to her. So she sees us smiling, and she's just like, I'm going to throw this donut at you. And she wasn't awake yet. It was 9, or 9:30. She was bundled, like, because she's always cold. So I get it, even though it was beautifully sunny. But she just was not having it. She was not happy. I don't know what else to say, but it happens, right? I'm going to share this. The pickleball tournament was a success. We had 32 players registered, and we had spectators. It was held at Caprock Apartments in El Paso, and we're going to do it in other cities and states. So if you got some older tennis courts at a community, we'd love to talk to you, because I feel that's going to be a way to spread our message and bring picklers. Do you know what a pickleball? Have you ever played pickleball?
I don't, but a lot of people have it's popping up. It's everywhere these days.
It's not going anywhere. Let me just say, it is a thing. This is just one of the many groups that was out there, for the first half. We even had a little shirt. I designed you helped us with the designing of our shirt, right? But it was so cold that people they were keeping their stuff on. Yeah. And then slowly tearing their stuff off. So, but it was a successful event. And I felt very grateful for all the partners that jumped, came on board, so that not one penny came out of DoAsWeDo's pocket, so that all the money that we raise will go to the caregivers for the registration, because we split it with Pickleball El Paso. We did a 75. We got the 75, and and because they had volunteers putting together the actual physical registration and coordination of the courts, was absolutely something that we teamed up on. But I got CoStar. Thank you, CoStar. I got to give our apartments.com, Mike Follis and Michelle of El Paso, PNY Mobile. They all helped with those signs. They put up physical dollars to have t-shirts and signs. I got Chili's gift cards to give away to the winners. Apartments. Caprock gave $50 to each. Thank you, Caprock Apartments, on Angelica and her team. So it was just like everybody coming together. Pickleball does bring, it's a great it's great for your loved one and for yourself. You know, I bought some paddles that didn't come in time. My mom and I are going to try and, you know, my friends and I, we want to learn pickleball. You know, it's an easier way to stay active. And they said on HBO Sports that doesn't matter your level of athleticism, you can play pickleball.
Okay. Good to know.
Yes. So
it's for everybody.
It's for everybody.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring a tournament to you guys. So Grams and you can come out and join us.
A Chi-Town pickleball.
Woo! I know people in Chi-Town. I know a lot of people in Chi-Town.
Come on over.
Yes, we definitely. I think that I can find a organization that we can get that pickleball in a nicer time of weather, right? Like,
yeah, we're gonna have to wait the next like 6 months. Maybe April. We'll see if it turns up. But
I know.
A really warm fall.
Okay.
So I'm very nervous about what's to come. Because I feel like when it's really warm in the fall, we get like snow until April, which is what I'm nervous about. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, it definitely is something that I know. For El Paso, we put it together in less than like I would say 6 weeks, maybe that, thanks to the pickleball organization that had all the willing participants and registered. And then we here, let me show this to you. I'm just gonna, because I got to give some shout outs to you and your awesome design that you helped. So we, you know, like .coms, I can't really zoom. Can I zoom in that? I'm afraid that if I do zoom in, that bad things will happen.
Pickleball, Caprock. Awesome.
Yeah. Those were our first, like some of our first entry winners. That's some of the volunteers. Then there's my mom still unhappy.
Oh, I love the front of the shirt. I love it.
Yeah. That's another shirt that I designed. We had pickleballers with, those are pickleball on the foot. Those were donated by one of the volunteers. Here's another. This is the second round of winners. But everybody got, you know, these pickleballers got prize. They just came to play. Pickleballers just want a place to play, right?
Yeah.
Like, but there's a lot of legalities with stuff, you know, and where they play, if it's a public court or not. So yeah, I am excited that I have the connection with apartment folks that have some older tennis courts that can totally be turned into pickleball courts. So I'm going after that.
Yeah.
We're coming to Chi-Town. We're coming to Utah. We're coming to the Philadelphia market.
I'm going to have to keep an eye out on these tennis. Yeah.
The next shirt you help me design, you can use all the logos. We don't have to stick to one color to save money.
Go big. Go real big.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, I actually think like outside my window is an old...
If you have it at your I need to talk to your apartment community. We need to have it there.
I have an old court right outside my window.
Okay, I need Grams to be on Grams watch. How many times do people go out there and play tennis? Okay,
no one's ever out there.
I need a tally, and then I'm going to approach your apartment community very nicely, and maybe it's you offline. You tell me where you live, and I'll see if I know the person, the owners.
All right,
you know,
we'll do
I have a database, or know people who have. ALN will be happy to give me that information. Shout out to ALN Data.
We just have a party here at my house. It'll be
I agree. If nobody shows up, it'll be me, you, Grams, and my mom. I'm down.
Even better. I love it.
It is, but it takes things like that, bringing everybody together and understanding that it takes a team, right? Like, so it is a great segue. I do want to talk because thank you everybody for joining us. I'm going to throw up Megan, TK. Yes. Thank you, Jolene. Yes, it's TikTok at that Kimberly. I don't have a DoAsWeDo yet. DoAsWeDo has everything else. I just have not been able to manage those two yet. So I'm getting there, folks. And Megan and Jolene, everybody, we appreciate you guys, but we want the whole purpose of DoAsWeDo and this live is to spread information, education, knowledge. TK did say this, that what is knowledge if it's not shared, right? Especially when it comes to dementia. Absolutely, 100%. It's a trial and error process, right? Because it's a journey. And it's a journey we don't want to make a rite of passage anymore. We want to have a conversation. So many people at the pickleball tournament and at the conference I was at last week came up to me and was like, you know, either sharing their story or what's going on in their lives because of their not having the caregiver conversation, right? Or they said, I wish you were around when I was going through it with my siblings, because they were all fighting, and their mom, I can't remember, she told me it was her mom or her dad, I don't remember, but she said, yeah, that they didn't agree, and it caused a lot of family, argument. And I don't know what happened afterwards, but that causes things for lifetime, right? Like, I know what it did to my dad and his side of the family, right? They're just coming back together again.
Yeah. 100. That's the same thing my grandma and her mom, that when she was diagnosed, the whole family torn apart for whatever reason. It's so hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of misunderstanding about what it is and what it is needed and all of it. Because again, the 20 years ago, no one was saying anything. It was shameful almost.
Yes. And that's why we want people to have the conversation now. I told this woman, I said, look, that's one of our main, yes, we help the caregiver. We give them money, and we're going to talk about this right now. But if you had been talking about this before 20, because she said, I think her mom had been gone now 20 years. I said, but what if your mom, 20 years prior to her being in her right state of mind, what if she'd have told you what she wanted, right? What if she had said, I don't want any of you caring for me. I want to be in my own home, and this is how we're going to do it, because here's where this is what's going to happen, right? Whatever that looks like. There are attorneys now, there's free websites now that will help you get that plan together. Or how about a good old pen and paper, write that down, sign it as your mind, and get it notarized.
Yeah.
That's legal. Your wishes written down, notarized by someone, given, copied, and put it somewhere else. Given, you can even, I think you can file it with the some counties, you can file it with the county. I don't know, I gotta look that up.
But they know,
but it's possible. So have the conversation, so your loved one doesn't have to get into a fight with their siblings, your whole family, your spouse, your partner, whoever it is, doesn't have to be hated by the world or your family because they don't feel like what you're doing is right? Like, it's all subjective opinions, right? Unless you're beating someone or hurting, which then I'm coming after you. That's just a different story, right? Kris and I, superpowers will come out.
Well, I think we both kind of got that little, we're a little feisty inside. So,
yes, we are.
We got it in us.
My dad is from Oklahoma. He says he's a lover, not a fighter, but my mom is Latin. And so my dad says I get it from her side of the family. I don't know.
I love it.
We can talk about that a different day. So yes. But we don't want anybody to fight. We are about love and peace and understanding, and is something that I absolutely know that I have to work on every single day. Even though at my core, that's where I sit. But because of life and the tribulations that come in at us, from all angles, right? It becomes very overwhelming. So this caregiving annual care is for the self-care of the caregiver, because if we don't do it for ourselves, right? Like, how long did it take you to take your first trip by yourself, Kris, like without your grandma?
Oh, 3 years.
But you were used to traveling with her all the time, right? Or going and doing stuff.
Yeah.
Even with or without her.
Getting away from her was the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
For many reasons, but yeah, we don't really take the time for ourselves as we should as caregivers.
Yeah. Or, and just imagine, and when you were a parent, you didn't do it as a parent, right? Like, well, I mean, you and I are not parents. I don't have children, but I saw all my friends that have kids not do it for themselves, right?
Oh yeah. No, I think about my friend her kid is like 8 years old. I literally haven't seen her because we used to see each other all the time, but life gets busy and, you have your different focuses and nobody's helping her take care of her kid and she's got to work. And so that's life, so
yes.
So we need the help and we need the assistance and we need the connection.
Yes. And we need to practice mental health, and whatever that mental health looks like for you, that's with this caregiving gift. But thanks to all the campaigns, from the pickleball charity to the haircut, shout out to our Salon D partners, to everybody, every personal donation that has come into, and I say personal, I mean from friends and family members that I know, that I've shared with, that they've shared with others. That's where our money comes from, and it goes straight back to the family caregiver, so they will go get that self-care, whatever it looks like to you, right? Like, if you want to chill and watch Netflix, but hire someone so you can just chillax, right? Yes. Like a day or two, depending on what state you live in, right? Where you live. We'll work on the government policies later. Right now, like that's a whole other bag.
It really is. Yeah.
We need to get mom. I feel mom of our moms. She definitely, Jacqueline is up on all that. So we need to have her back on some of the changes she's getting out there, getting done. But yeah, we want people to use this money, and it's easy. It ends tonight. You want to kind of fill in, Kris, this part?
Yes, you have until midnight Eastern time to apply. It is very easy to apply. There is a link in my link tree, as well as DoAsWeDo, to apply for it. It's a couple of questions that you'll fill out. And once you submit the application, then you're going to go over to Instagram or Facebook, whichever you choose. And you're going to post your photo or video sharing your story of caregiving and tagging DoAsWeDo. That way, mean that you filled out the application. You're able to share this message with everybody, and that qualifies you for the self-care giveaway.
Yeah, you do have. If you don't want to be tagged on Facebook or Instagram, you don't want to do all that. When you fill out the form, it's a Google form, so there's nowhere to upload yet. Whatever. Talk to Google. It's free, right? But you do have to send me or the email address on there. I think it might be kscott@doaswedo.org, a picture of you and your loved one. I will not share it with anyone if you choose, but by you putting it on Facebook or Instagram, that does give us the right to do that. But if you don't want that done, no problem. Send me a picture and tell me, I am not going to post this, or I'm okay to post it, but you just didn't want to do that, whatever. But I need a photo of you with that story. It is something that it helps us, it helps the volunteers. It also gives a little validity, validity,
it's like an eligibility check.
There we go.
This is our loved one. I am a caregiver,
Yeah, we're doing our best to reach out to everybody, but sometimes we don't get a chance to do that, depending on the level of volunteers we have at the time when this ends. So I just want people to understand that like we're doing our best. We have to qualify people. We understand not there's good in the world, but there is about 1% of the world, right, in every category. So we just want to make sure that the money is going to an actual family caregiver of someone with dementia, right? And you can have dementia, have Parkinson's, Lewy bodies, be an alcoholic, stroke. I met somebody with the anesthesia that affected them. Medications can cause dementia.
Hundreds of different kinds of dementia. Hundreds.
Yes. It is a symptom of many diseases, because dementia means memory or cognitive loss, right? Yes. Depends on if you're talking to a doctor or whatever. Cognitive, brain. I'm trying to break these words down, right? Memory just means memory loss, right? Because your brain ain't fired. We're going to talk about inside out. I think that's what we need to define make it inside out in dementia terms, right? That's what our topic.
I'm like getting some good. I want to go watch that movie tonight, I think. And
I am totally
ideas of like how the little characters would talk if they had or if the person had dementia and they're figuring it out. I think that would be
some notes. I'm doing it.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna do that episode. We're gonna do a little mini series on how to
animation.
Yes, because that's the future caregiver is who I'm saying this. It's not about if you die, because everybody says, "Oh, I got insurance for that," right? It's about if you live. Mm-hmm. And all we want you to do is have that conversation with your parents, with your spouse, with your partner, with your friends. If you have no children, like me, I have no children. So I'm telling my niece and my nephew, and I'm telling my best friend, and I'm putting in my will, and I'm preaching it. Like they know exactly what I want. Yeah. It is, and it's controversial, but I'm going to take a pill. I'm going to move to a state because I live in Texas and I can't take that self-suicide. I met somebody who didn't know what that meant. And really? It's legal. Yes.
Is it only legal in Colorado?
It is. Well, no, there's 12 states. It's 12 states, okay. Maybe 10 to 12. And then Switzerland is a destination a country. I learned this from meeting a woman who was living with dementia on one of my first podcasts 3 years ago. Wow. We can have a conversation. That is tripped out. But
Switzerland is ahead in like all levels of dementia care. Like they're figuring it out the way that like,
wow, I need to dig in. Because
they have like homes, the nurse, I think it's Switzerland or Switzerland, I think, but they designed nursing homes to where the door of the person's bedroom looks like the door of their home. So the whole design of the nursing home is like supposed to be comfort and like not white walls and misery, you know?
Wow. Well, then we need to definitely have a conversation and dig some in, because it's what like we need to get better at it. There are states in the United States where you have to establish residency. So, you know, I have a long-term care policy. When I first start to show signs, 20 to 30 years out, Daniel Amen, who was the first doctor that I ever discovered that talked about this, he has clinics across through 9, and you can scan your brain and see symptoms, real actual Alzheimer's, right? Because dementia can be a symptom of depression and stress and other things, but actual Alzheimer's, right? So I will go get my brain rescanned, because I've already had it scanned once, to see if it's Alzheimer's when I'm in my 70s, right?
Yeah.
And if it is, then money is kicking in and we're going, and I'm going to establish it. And I'm taking that pill, and bye-bye night, right?
I think we should be able to control how like with a terminal illness. There was a beautiful account recently on TikTok where I think it was like Taddie or something. She had ALS, and she lived in a different country, and she chose to stop all medications and to speed up the process. And She did. And she died peacefully within 24 hours of like making that choice. And it's surrounded by friends and family, and her daughters or her children came on the TikTok and spoke about it so beautifully. And I think that
I need that.
I'll find it and I'll text it to you. It was a really beautiful story. I know a couple of the hospice nurses shared it on their TikTok channels as well.
Yeah, because I know that's a sensitive topic, but the point of it is, would you rather not know and go out the way you really want to go out, or die from caregiving because you didn't have a conversation with someone because you're so stressed out? I don't want that for anyone. I don't want that for my friends' kids, their spouses, their loved ones, my niece, anybody that I've ever shaken your hand. I don't want that for you, no matter whether I like you or not.
Yeah.
I just don't want that for anybody. So that's why we're around. That's why we're here. We are going to go live on Instagram, because this does not have, we are in StreamYard, everyone. And it does not connect to Instagram yet. I don't think Instagram connects to any third parties. So we're going to jump over there. So please join us. We appreciate you guys here. We'll do the same thing like we did. I'll wait for you, Kris. I'll have the look for DoAsWeDo. And yes, thank you to everybody
who. You're going to hop on mine, right?
Yeah, you're going to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You go live first. Just wanted to clear, because I'm I can be, even though people come to me for some technology things, Instagram changes all the time. And
it does.
Yes.
I can't keep up either. So you're
I struggle. Today I'm just on the struggle bus in general, because
long week. You had a long week. It's okay.
It was a caregiving. Yeah. Like it was a caregiving week for me. Right.
Yeah. I'm taking this is my Sunday look today, and I'm comfortable with it.
Me too. I didn't have to be anywhere. Like I normally, on other lives, I'm like, well, we got a busy day today. Nope. Kimberly I showered the night before, brushed my teeth this morning.
There you go.
There we go. So join us over on DoAsWeDo's Instagram. Well, Kris, is it Kris or is it Life
with Grams?
Life Grams. Okay.
Yep. We'll see you over there in a few minutes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you guys. And don't forget, it ends tonight. Go to the bio and fill out the application.
Apply. Share it with all your caregiver friends.
Yay. Bye, guys. Bye, Kris. See you in a sec.
All right.